Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, all over those Auburn Tigers, thanks to Vernon Speaks Sports. You can catch his channel right here on YouTube, Vernon Speaks Sports, for just a ton of Auburn quantity and quality of content as we just get through these spring sessions just here in the last day. And, of course, we're here to talk about the A-Day game. Vernon, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great, Mark. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. And apparently the quarterback situation, all good yesterday, according to the reps against both the first and second team, depending on the quarterbacks, Joey Gatewood, Bo Nix, and even Malik Willis having to throw most of his attempts against the first team, all looked good based on the numbers I'm looking at.
Well, you know, when you have the opportunity to look at the A-Day game, you have a situation where the ones were obviously against the twos. Malik Willis had the unique opportunity to have to face the #1 defense, who looked good as well. And when I think about the quarterback battle at Auburn, I think Auburn is probably in the most positively unique situation in the country. You have all four quarterbacks that, given variations of the Gus Malzahn offense, could very well be highly successful. Now, I'm going to start with my biggest surprise of yesterday was Malik Willis. I thought Malik Willis performed very well despite the negative connotations that were presented in the media. I thought Malik Willis had, I mean, especially I would have loved to have seen him in live if the contact was live, because he made a ton of great zone read plays where he actually kept the ball, and it was just totally wide open. Now, obviously, Kevin Steele was not able to combat that with the normal defensive variations that he had, but Malik Willis impressed me. He had a long touchdown pass that he threw that he actually had to create some more time in the pocket, and he made a beautiful throw under pressure, which shows that he can throw the football under pressure. Cord Sandberg, obviously the former Major League Baseball player who returned to the college ranks, wanted to fulfill his dreams of playing college football. He had an interesting showing as well. When he was, during his first couple of reps, he handed the ball off. He didn't do too much as far as passing the football, but then when he was able to pass the ball, he showed a lot of what he showed on film in high school. Very smooth with the screen throws, very smooth with the intermediate passing. So if he was relied upon to be the starter, it would absolutely make sense for the Auburn Tigers, but I'll go out on a limb and say he probably will not be in high consideration to be a starter, considering the skill sets of the next two guys that I'm going to talk about. We're talking Bo Nix, one of the greatest players, high school-wise, quarterback-wise, out of the state of Alabama, led Pinson Valley High School to 2 state championships. He was Mr. Alabama last season. And I saw bits and pieces as to why. You know, Bo Nix, considering that he was playing high school just a few months ago, really took command of the offense. There was a pass down in the red zone, and you remember Auburn struggled mightily in the red zone last year. He threw a pass that is very uncharacteristic of a inexperienced SEC quarterback. He was veering off to his right, but he threw across his body to a wide open receiver, which I was very impressed with. Bo Nix also looked very good with the run pass option, showing the speed that was displayed on film as he was quarterback for Pinson Valley High School. On to Joey Gatewood, who appeared to be the media favorite quarterback-wise for the Auburn Tigers out of Bertram Trail High School. 6'5", 230-plus pounds. People want to equate his abilities to that of Cam Newton. Now, we weren't able to see those types of equivalencies because, obviously, the defense had a no-hit zone on the quarterbacks yesterday. But what I did like about Joey Gatewood as well was his decision-making. He threw some great passes out in the flat. He threw some great passes across the middle. He also made some good decisions with the run-pass option. The only issue I had with Joey Gatewood is that his deep ball is very questionable. Was very questionable yesterday.
All right. Auburn football talk with Vernon Speaks Sports. You can catch him right here on YouTube. It's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, as we cover as much from all the spring games. Specifically this past weekend, there were dozens of major teams in play and will be as well this coming weekend. when the productivity at the quarterback position is that heavy, of course, it goes hand in hand with the wide receiver. Seth Williams is a guy that I knew about coming out of high school. Auburn had that one class of wide receivers coming out of high school that was prolific, supposed to really make an impact, and the best wide receiver haul for that season about 2 years ago in college football coming out of high school. And Seth Williams in particular, a couple games, and I remember his efforts against Texas A&M down the stretch in that comeback win. He was remarkable, and I'm seeing where he pretty much showed that he's the man again.
Seth Williams had a very good showing in the A-Day game yesterday, made 2 incredible catches, very synonymous to what he was able to accomplish in the Texas A&M game, and a few catches similar to the catches that he made against Ole Miss. And I think Seth Williams is poised to be, a top-rated receiver in the SEC. I think second team All-SEC at worst. One catch that he made where he split 2 very, very talented receivers for a touchdown on a kind of a short throw. I can't remember which quarterback threw the pass. I think it was the pass that Joey Gatewood threw deep for a touchdown. I think. If I'm wrong, Auburn fans, I do apologize. But either way, Seth Williams made some incredible catches in that game. Also, I was very impressed with Matthew Hill as well, number 19. He made an incredible catch as well. And he even, goes on to social media and says that Auburn is poised to be wide receiver U this year. I can argue with him on that to a certain degree, but Auburn is very talented at the receiver position. You talk about guys like Sal Cannella, who will be returning, McCreary, who had a lot of buzz during the spring game, didn't have much of a showing in the A-Day game. I meant spring practice, but didn't have much of a showing in the A-Day game. But, Auburn is really set up to be very, very talented at that wide receiver position. There were a few guys who weren't present. That of Eli Stove, very limited, but did catch a touchdown. Will Hastings, I believe Will Hastings' ACL injury was a little bit more severe than Eli Stove. Well, his injury was a little bit more severe than Eli Stove because it seems like his rehabilitation is taking a little bit longer. But Schwartz, also probably one of the fastest human beings in college football, is out because of his obligations with track. Gus Malzahn and his staff agreed to that. So the wide receiver position is well in hand. Seth Williams definitely will be a target this fall.
Yeah, the wide receiver core is deep and of a high quality. Clemson might take exception to the wide receiver moniker, but we can have that debate all off season. The running back stable is very deep as well, and it looks like you've got a couple players in Harold Joyner and in DJ Williams that make the quantity of players at the wide receiver and running back position that are good, and the versatility of these guys when you put them in total of a lot of different options on the offense of not just guys you can get it to, but the different things that they can do.
You look at, the going narrative for the Auburn Tigers, especially when you look at the wide receiver position and the running back position. I mean, the narrative is versatility, and, you pretty much have a onslaught no matter what defense you're facing. If you want to run power, you talk about guys like Boobie Whitlow, guys of that nature. If you want speed, you want quickness, you talk about Cam Martin. It's just no matter how you want to variate this thing, you can match up pretty well against any defense in the country. Now, being more specific about the A-Day game, probably what raised a lot of eyebrows for the Auburn fan base was Harold Joyner and DJ Williams. We all pretty much knew about Boobie Whitlow's talent. We're going to touch on that briefly in just a second, but we're going to talk about DJ Williams first. DJ Williams, I was very impressed with the fact that he has that command at the running back position to where you can tell he wants to be an every down back. He attacks the line of scrimmage. You can tell he doesn't mind contact. He's going to be a power back at Auburn. He reminds me vaguely of Michael Dyer from 2010. I just think he's a phenomenal athlete and a very good get, for lack of a better way to put it, for the Auburn Tigers, because if we remember during the recruitment process last year, DJ Williams bloomed late. And that's what I learned, because that last year was my first time ever covering the recruiting process and how your value, you can go from, say, a 3-star to, say, a 4-star late November. And DJ Williams actually made a commitment to Chattanooga because I think at that time he just didn't know what his value was. But as his value began to rise in the college football market, he began to get, more Power 5 options. And, with Asa Martin transferring to Miami because of the whole debacle at Auburn, Auburn had to find someone to replace the talent of Asa Martin. And I think that's where the effort to get DJ Williams came in, and they cashed in on that. And for good reason. DJ Williams had an incredible spring game. He shows a lot of versatility with running the football. He's powerful. He doesn't give up on the run. I was impressed with him. Harold Joyner will be that guy that can play anywhere in the skill position set between tailback and wide receiver. He's just a very gifted athlete as well. Now, with Boobie Whitlow out of somewhere close to where I'm from, Lafayette, Alabama, very, very unlikely, coming from the high school that he went to, that would even be playing at a school like Auburn. That's a whole nother story. But when I think about Boobie Whitlow's talent and how it has translated to the SEC, it's been absolutely phenomenal. Now, there were some things fundamentally last year that I think Boobie Whitlow had to get rid of. Like, sometimes he would do this real weird kick step when he runs the ball to try to gain some momentum and, things of that nature. You could see it in the Ole Miss game. Watch that Ole Miss game. You'll see that little kick step that I'm talking about. So you get an NFL All-Pro, you get an All-SEC running back in Carnell Williams as your running backs coach. And I'm pretty sure, obviously, Carnell Williams watches film on all of his running backs. And when he spoke with Boobie Whitlow, I'm pretty sure he probably said, look, man, before we get started, that little kick step that you do, that's not going to happen anymore. Lo and behold, there was a run in the 8A game where Boobie Whitlow had the opportunity to do that kick step. And I can tell that he was being coached out of that move by Carnell Williams. And I say all of that gibberish to say this. Boobie Whitlow looked very smooth and fluid yesterday. Kind of reminded me, probably because of the number that he had on, but reminded me of an Adrian Peters. He was very smooth with how he ran the ball. You could tell that he is allowing himself to be coached out of some of the bad behaviors that cost him last year, that probably cost him a 1,000-yard running season last year. Needless to say, Mark, I think the running back position at Auburn is in good shape.
Vernon, have you seen the old tapes of Walter Payton doing the high step? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, man. It just doesn't work for Boobie though. He needs to just run the. I almost said something. He needs to run the ball.
Yeah, when you're Walter Payton, you get to do whatever you want.
Right.
When you're that caliber, but when you're fighting for a starting job and trying to hold off 4 other guys, then absolutely. When you look at the defense, so you made the comment right out of the gate, Vernon, that the quarterbacks look good, the defense look good. Now, obviously, they're all playing against each other, so that's kind of difficult to do, but I'll let you explain how the defense still looked good, giving up what were like 80% completion percentages.
Well, I'll tell you what. I had to watch film on both the offense and the defense. Obviously, with the gauge on defense and with the gauge on offense, and I had to go back. It was kind of a interesting process because this was actually my first time, doing a spring game. So you was like, man, it's a little work here. But anyway, it was a great experience though. Now, when I look at a spring game moving forward, I'm looking at little things in those spring games that will translate into victories in a real game. So when I look at the offense, the defense, one thing I noticed is that the very first drive, the first team defense kind of looks similar to how Auburn tends to look in a 12 o'clock game. They look very flat. They really weren't, getting after it the way that you would think they would. But all of a sudden, the next couple of drives, Derek Brown emerged, and we actually remembered that Derek Brown was still on the team. He made a couple of big plays. He made some nice sacks in that game. And one thing that I noticed about Derek Brown is he appears to have actually either lost some weight or he's toned up somehow. He appears to be a lot more athletic than he's been in the past. A couple of other positions, I really wasn't so much concerned about the defensive line because I know that's solid. You got a lot of experience there. You got a lot of athleticism there. The positions that I was mainly looking at was the secondary and the linebackers. And oddly enough, my man Owen Papo was on the field, number 10. One thing I like about Owen Papo is he gives all the range and all of the abilities that I think he was recruited for. I see why he was one of the top rated linebackers in the country. He has this very unique ability to he has this unique ability of not only having high level talent, but he has the smarts of that's uncharacteristic of a guy at his stage of the game. One linebacker from Auburn that I can, equate him to is Carlos Dansby. I don't know if you remember Carlos Dansby.
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a natural. He knows how to take on blocks, and he finds his way. When the running game was active, Owen Papo was somewhere around the football. He has a very good knack for finding the football. Also, I was very impressed with what I saw out of KJ Britt. Now, for a lot of guys just don't realize that the Mike linebacker position at Auburn is a very hard, very difficult position to play. You're being asked to cover the flat, and you're also being asked to be active in the run game. So KJ Britt I think, is going to have a good season as well. They had Zacoby McClain went down with a knee injury. We'll follow that to see where we go from there. Michael Harris was very active as well. So the linebacker core is headed in the right direction. But I was very, very impressed with Owen Papo. Now, as far as the secondary, I was very, very optimistic about what I saw. Christian Tutt was a freshman last year. You could tell his inexperience, but this year taking much better angles to the ball. And under a Wesley McGriff coach secondary, you can tell that it is carried over. They tackle much better in the spring game than what I saw last year for the Auburn Tigers out of the secondary. Great showing by the defense.
Love the analysis we get out of Vernon Speaks Sports, talking Auburn football as Gus Malzahn and the Tigers concluded spring practice with the annual A-Day game in front of about 42,000 fans at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Vernon will join us throughout the summer as we set you up for that final quarterback competition in August, and of course a number of position battles across both units, the offense and the defense, and of course we'll look at the schedule and that huge opener against Oregon. I ask you and encourage you definitely, if you want to dive into the SEC, and specifically, even if you're not an Auburn fan, want to get the read on the contenders in the Western Division, then you check out Vernon Speaks Sports talking Auburn football as we get you set for the entire season here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Vernon, we appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, that's no problem, Mark, man. Always a pleasure.